Hi. So, for those of you that don't know, I have a second YouTube channel, Living for Later, and on that channel, I focus in on just encouraging people in their walk with Christ. So, I have videos on there with just different devotional thoughts where I expound on specific scriptures or give spiritual reminders. And I started this channel because I wanted to focus more on like recipes and sharing updates on my health journey. With that said, there will still be times where I'll sprinkle in, some Bible thoughts in this because that's just a part of me. And as I've been on this health journey, I notice that the two go hand in hand. God speaks to me so much as I'm going through this health journey, and I see so many parallels. So, with that said, let me talk to you today from the thought of just the fact that the restrictions are not always a bad thing. When I first started my health journey and I realized that I had to omit certain things from my diet for optimal health, I was just like, oh, all when I would listen to videos or read different articles, all I could focus on were the restrictions. All I could focus on was what I couldn't have. And because of that, I was just so turned off and from the idea of making the necessary dietary changes. And if anything, it was almost like I just wanted the bad things even more. And when I shifted my mindset, as opposed to focusing on what I couldn't have, I started to focus on all that was before me. So it wasn't like, oh, you have no options at all. I did have options. It may not have been what I wanted, but it was what was best for me, eating nutritious foods as opposed to sitting and gulping down sugar, right? So it's not necessarily what I wanted, but it's exactly what I needed, and it was an option. So the restrictions were not something that I should have shunned. It's something that I should have embraced because that's what's helping me on my road to healing. And with that, I think about what happened in the book of Genesis. In the beginning, here it is, God created Adam and Eve, and he placed them in the Garden of Eden, and they had abundance. And God told them in Genesis chapter 2, you may freely eat from any tree in this garden except for one. Then you turn over the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Then you turn over to Genesis 3, and the devil comes in the form of a serpent, and he gets them to go ahead and partake of the forbidden fruit. So he made them focus in on the restrictions as opposed to them thanking God for all that was available to them. All Eve could see when the devil first came to her was the fact that, like, yeah, you are right. I can't eat of this tree. And then, there's more to the story, of course, in terms of the devil just saying, oh, God just knows that if you eat of this tree, you're going to become like him. So that's a whole nother story. But for the sake of this video, I just want to encourage those of you that are on your health journey to not moan and groan about what you can't have, especially if the thing that is being withheld from you is a huge detriment, because we see when they took and they ate of that fruit, the fall took place, right? So it's the same thing for our health. We have certain things, if you will, that are the forbidden fruit, but don't moan and groan about it. Omit those things so that you can come to the place of healing, because every time that you eat what you shouldn't, it triggers different responses in your body and creates a fall, if you will. So I'm going to end there, and I just again want you to really just ponder the thought. Don't focus on the restrictions. Focus on all that you can have and the good that comes when you adhere to what they tell you you shouldn't eat and what you shouldn't eat. All right, you be blessed.